Now at 9, the mayor of Galena, Kansas releases a statement about resident complaints of police misconduct. Plus, how a new law in Missouri is making diagnostic breast imaging more affordable. And a gas line explosion in Springfield leaves hundreds of people in the dark.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Thank you for joining us tonight. I'm Dow Quick. The mayor of Galena, Kansas responds to some citizen allegations of police misconduct in the city. You might recall the council last night heard from 2 Galena citizens with complaints. They claim Galena police don't treat everyone equally and claim officers have unfairly harassed specific individuals or families. One citizen claimed an officer has made an unwarranted threat of physical violence. Due to the length of that meeting, we were unable to get a response from city officials last night. But Mayor Ashley Groves this afternoon says complaints like this are rare and the city has a system for citizens to voice complaints. She adds, quote, "The city of Galena takes allegations of employee misconduct seriously and will follow procedures to ensure the city is providing the highest possible service to our residents." A new Missouri law requires health insurance companies to pay the full cost of diagnostic breast imaging. Under that new law, patients won't have to pay a copay or deductible. KOAM's Fernanda Silva has that story.
Chrissy Sabert was 47 years old when she was diagnosed with breast cancer, the second most common cancer among women in the United States. Chrissy was already taking diagnostic breast cancer imaging exams yearly, but it was something else that led her to going back to the doctor.
Popped out of the shower and thought, what is that? Kind of looked like a little divot or a little sunken in place. That was odd. I'd never seen that before.
But Christy is not alone. According to the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, in Missouri, for every 1,000 women, more than 120 new female breast cancer cases were reported in 2020. Imaging exams are a large part of cancer detection and treatment. A new law in Missouri eliminates the cost of diagnostic breast cancer imaging. It will take effect on January 1st, 2024.
Not infrequently, I have patients that are unable to go through with the recommended studies, and cost being the most commonly quoted factor that I have in that. So with the new law requiring insurance to cover 100% of the out-of-pocket costs for some of these studies, I believe that we'll be able to diagnose more breast cancers at an earlier stage and have better outcomes for our patients, and particularly our high-risk patients.
This removes another excuse, another obstacle. This law is definitely a positive in the right direction. I believe it can be a building block because this needs to pass in every state.
The new law not only benefits patients financially, but also mentally.
It will have a significant impact on our patients' mental health. A diagnosis or even a concern for a possible diagnosis of breast cancer has a significant impact on the mental health of our patients. A lot of stress and anxiety is associated with that, and when these patients incur an additional stressor of a large bill, that's not good for their mental health.
In Joplin, Fernanda Silva, KOAM News.
The Breast Cancer Foundation of the Ozarks also offers free screening mammograms for people who are uninsured or underinsured. Doctors recommend annual mammograms for women aged 40 and above. Early detection of breast cancer not only improves prognosis, but also provides a wider range of treatment options. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Doug Heddy for a first look at the weather.
Well, it turned out to be a super hot one for us today. I think today is day number 4 that we've hit 100 degrees. We only average hitting 100 1 to 2 times each summer, and we're only into the middle of July. Last year, of course, we did it like 18 times. 101 was a high, started at 73, average high is 91 degrees. Had a few showers in our northeastern counties, but everybody pretty much today staying dry. Still a few showers in western Missouri, also out in western parts of Kansas. But in general, I think we're going to stay dry as we go through the overnight hours tonight. Also warm, look at this. It's after 9 o'clock. It's still upper 80s to near 90 degrees. In fact, we still have a heat index of about 95 upwards to 100 in our southern counties. We'll only drop back to about 80 for us tonight. Another hot one for us tomorrow. And when are we going to cool down? We'll look at that here in just a bit.
See you soon. A 64-year-old Seneca, Missouri woman is no longer charged with murder after the prosecuting attorney dismissed the charges against her. Police say in December of 2021, Suzette Anderson killed David Wesley Stotts. Anderson maintained it was self-defense, saying Stotts was trying to attack her. She was originally charged with first-degree murder and armed criminal action. Well, now the Newton County prosecuting attorney William Lynch has filed a motion to dismiss the case because he believes it was indeed a case of justifiable self-defense. A meeting between the residents and owners of a Joplin mobile home park over rate increases, that meeting has been postponed. The meeting at Countryside Acres was scheduled for tonight at 7. It was supposed to be a chance for residents to learn about plans for an increase in rates at the park. The meeting has been rescheduled for this coming Saturday at noon. A Joplin pizza restaurant for 10 years in the city has closed its doors. Carmine's Wood-Fired Pizza announced they've closed their downtown Joplin location on South Joplin Avenue. They say they were recently presented with an exciting business venture that will take the family who owns it out of state. Pizza Spot recently won second place in the International Pizza Expo with their classic traditional style pizza. They closed their doors on Saturday. Hundreds of people in southeast Springfield, Missouri were left in the dark last night after an explosion yesterday morning caused by a natural gas line. City utility crew was completing routine maintenance on a gas line. A valve failed and caused that explosion. Reporter Sydney Moran has details.
I could just feel the heat and just the loudness of this fire.
It's a sight and sound Jocelyn Little Moon will never forget.
I kind of felt the house shake just a little bit, but it was the noise whenever I came out, just the rushing, the roaring of the fire. I have never seen a big fire like that before.
Little Moon was working just yards away from one of Springfield's natural gas lines. On Monday, 3 city utility workers were completing routine maintenance on that line.
When they disconnected that valve, it failed and the natural gas did not stop flowing and it ignited immediately.
The explosion caused down power lines, leaving 1,700 households without power on a hot summer day.
I'm just worried about everybody in the neighborhood, about their animals inside and their food in their fridge and trying to survive in this heat with no air conditioning.
For some, the flames forced them to evacuate.
You think ahead for events like this and you think, oh, what's important? Well, when you're actually in it, you're going, I don't think anything's important. I'm just going to grab some underwear, shirt and shorts and get the heck out the door.
Joel Alexander with City Utilities says this event is a reminder of how dangerous natural gas can be.
Situations like this can often end up a lot more tragically than they did, and we're very fortunate that our folks are okay, minimal damage.
Neighbors are also fortunate their homes are in one piece, even if it means dealing with no electricity.
We're happy that we aren't exploded. We might be taking cold showers tonight, but I need to cool off anyways.
A handful of neighbors are also without natural gas as city utilities work to make those repairs. Coming up, how a new drug approved by the FDA could help protect infants from RSV. It's a new weapon against a common virus. Every year, RSV sends up to 80,000 children younger than 5 to the hospital. But a new treatment to protect newborns is now approved by the U.S. Food and Drug Administration. Reporter Mandy Gaither has more on how it works.
In the U.S., it's the leading cause of hospitalization for infants under a year old. RSV can cause severe illness.
A good friend of ours, her child went into the hospital with RSV. And so that was kind of my first introduction into what RSV could do to infants.
That's part of the reason Cheryl Meany enrolled her twin babies in a clinical trial testing a passive immunity treatment called Nirsevimab. Nearly a decade ago, when they were newborns, the babies were given active antibodies.
The twins, went to pre-K, all of the things, and they never got sick. And, I just kind of had a feeling that it was because of this.
The FDA approved the treatment on Monday. It's not a vaccine. While vaccines prompt the body to make antibodies to defend against pathogens, this is a ready-made antibody that can bind to the virus and block it from infecting healthy cells. The immune system doesn't have to make anything. It's given as a single injection to an infant before RSV season, which usually peaks in the fall and winter months. The FDA says 3 clinical trials showed the drug is safe and effective at preventing severe RSV. Possible side effects included rash and injection site reactions. The agency says it shouldn't be given to a child who's sensitive to its ingredients. For Health Minute, I'm Mandy Gaither.
Alzheimer's disease experts are revamping the way doctors diagnose patients with that memory-robbing disorder. Under the proposed guidelines, a rating scale will assess disease progression similar to the different stages used in cancer diagnoses. The guidelines also eliminate the use of terms like mild, moderate, and severe. Doug is next with a complete look at the forecast, and later the Fairland, Oklahoma high school football team has a brand new head coach. We'll tell you about him in sports.
Well, it definitely turned out to be a super hot day for us today. High temps into the triple-digit range. Once again, we've already done it like 4 times this year, which is pretty crazy, and we're going to do it again a lot more over the next week. Nice shot. Here's Indigo Sky Casino and Resort, of course, Indigo, just outside of Seneca, Missouri. We could use a little bit of rain, too. I know we got heavy, widespread rain last Friday, but we are just so far behind, and when you get temperatures like this, it dries it out pretty quickly. Look at this. We're over 10 inches behind. Now, we were behind by 15 inches last year, so if we go back 1 year, we're 25 inches behind where we should be. Temperatures right now are actually earlier today. Look at this. We warmed most areas right around 100, if not a little bit higher, and we haven't dropped off that much. It's still 85 in Pineville. It's 83 in Chautauqua. It's 80 in Garnett, so most of us are into the upper 80s to near 90 degrees. We can go outside in Joplin, 89. It feels like 95. Still, look at these heat indices. Still feels like 100 in Veneta and Nowata, so it's super humid across the region, but not much going on. We had some showers, northeastern counties earlier today. These have mainly been scooting across central Missouri, so we are all dry, and there's just not a whole bunch going on. You can see some showers and thunderstorms out across western Kansas. Those aren't going to make it here, so we're going to stay dry as we go through the overnight hours tonight. So here's the problem. Big heat dome, big area of high pressure. Now, we do get these little waves that kind of rotate around the high, giving us some chances for rain, but as long as this is kind of intact and at least decently close to us, that's when we see that triple-digit heat. All right, let's go through the daytime hours for us tomorrow. Already into lower 90s by noon. We have this front kind of stationary across the northern half of the region, so that may fire off 1 or 2 isolated guys late in the afternoon hours, but most of you will stay dry, and where most of us are going to push 100 once again. All right, tomorrow night, scattered thunderstorms along the north side of that front, so we do have chances for thunderstorms to get in here. This is 3 o'clock in the morning on Thursday. Leftover showers Thursday morning, and then Thursday afternoon looks pretty good. High temps cooling down right around 93, 94 for an afternoon high. We stay in the upper 80s in our northern counties. Then we got to watch for a chance for scattered thunderstorms getting in here again Thursday night into Friday morning, which, hey, we'll take the rain. All right, we only dropped to about 80 tonight, so 92 by noon, 99 for a high, so another hot one, plus our heat indices, once again for us tomorrow, are going to be above 100, about 103 to 105, so be careful if you're going to be out there tomorrow afternoon. All right, 99 tomorrow, 95 on Thursday. Look at this, Friday, morning showers, but a high temp of only 84, which is pretty good. Saturday, not that bad, 89, and then here we go again, 96 Sunday, triple-digit heat most of next week.
If we could take those numbers and kind of rearrange them, spread out the average a little bit, maybe it'd be a bit more tolerable.
It's true, not too bad.
I don't think it works that way, though.
Nope.
Thanks, Doug. Coming up, your favorite shows still on standby.
Be prepared to watch more reruns as Hollywood actors and writers continue to strike against major studios. I'm Jackie Ibanez. Those details straight ahead.
The latest economic data show consumers are spending more money despite ongoing inflation worries. Shopping at U.S. retailers was up in June for the third straight month. The Commerce Department reported that retail spending rose 0.2% last month, still slightly lower than what economists had been expecting. They had predicted an increase of 0.5%. Hollywood actors and screenwriters continue to strike after failing to reach deals with major studios. Now, the trade association that negotiates on behalf of these studios says the actor union walked away from historic wage increases. Fox News correspondent Jackie Ibanez has more.
Film and television production remains at a standstill as more famous faces join the picket lines.
Shut it down! Shut it down! Shut it down!
There's unity between Hollywood actors and screenwriters on strike as they gear up for a long standoff with major studios. Both of their unions are demanding better pay and working conditions, increased streaming residuals, and assurances that artificial intelligence will not replace them.
And the reason that we're striking is because we aren't getting the money that we know we deserve. We did the work and we deserve it.
Many picketers out on the sidewalks in sweltering temperatures Monday, making their voices heard. Some pickets were canceled due to the hot weather. Meanwhile, some cast members of Orange is the New Black, an early hit show for Netflix, are sharing their residual checks for working on the show.
I'm happy to tell you that my latest residual check came in June, and it was for $20.23.
And with the strike now in full swing, it could cost the entertainment industry billions of dollars. Audiences will start to notice some changes.
You're going to see probably a lot of reality shows. You're going to see a lot of reruns. No new programming can be made, and actors cannot go out and promote movies that are coming out.
The alliance behind major film and television studios says its offer, which was rejected by the actors union, included more than $1 billion in wage increases and enhanced benefits. Jackie Ibanez, Fox News.
Taylor Swift is certainly living in her era's era, all while cementing herself as a musical icon. According to Billboard Speak Now, Taylor's version is the pop star's 12th album to reach #1. That's the most by any female artist ever. The previous record holder was Barbra Streisand, who had 11. Swift is also the first living artist in almost 60 years with 4 albums in the top 10 at the same time. She's also the first woman and living soloist to have 11 albums concurrently charting on the Billboard 200 chart. Up next, we're going to tell you about the rescue of a man and his dog who were stranded at sea for 3 months. This 54-year-old Australian man is back on dry land after a harrowing 3 months at sea. The crew of a Mexican tuna boat found Timothy Shattuck and his dog Bella in a catamaran 1,200 miles from land in the Pacific Ocean. They were given food and water, of course, once they were brought on board the boat. Shattuck told an Australian news outlet his time at sea was hell, but he needs rest, and he's otherwise okay. Apparently a storm had knocked out his communications equipment and electronics and left him stranded for all that time. 30 more minutes of news, weather, and sports coming your way. A ceremonial passing of the American flag through all 50 states makes its way through Joplin. Plus, the Shoal Creek Conservation Education Center gives people an up-close look at the creatures in the creek. The Nation of Patriots tour has made its way to the 4 states. KOAM's Anthony Saviello has that story.
While one motorcycle may not be given a second look, the roar of many is sure to grab attention. These riders made their way through downtown Joplin for the Nation of Patriots tour and ended here at VFW Post 534.
They have just 150% been significant help, and it was a huge weight off of my shoulders for them to offer their building, their facility, their food, their volunteers. Like, I could not have done this without all of their help, for sure.
The VFW provided their space to the Nation of Patriots organization for the first time this year, but plans to continue to be a part of this event for years to come.
This is a huge honor for us. Anything that we can do to help veterans in need, that's what we're here for. And when Nation of Patriots stepped up and asked us to host and be a partner with them, it was a no-brainer for us.
The Nation of Patriots Tour is a ceremonial passing of the American flag throughout each of the 50 states. The flag was welcomed to the VFW post and passed on to the next carrier, who will take it to Wichita later this week. For Jordan, this year was a success, and hopes that the event only grows for years to come.
The Nation of Patriots, each state, at some point, they are actually given the opportunity to host the kickoff and the homecoming. And so I think being our first year and having a secure location like this, especially the VFW, I really look forward to the year that Joplin will have and host the huge Nation of Patriots homecoming and kickoff. And I'm very excited to see where that's going to go.
So whether you drive an Indian or a Harley Davidson, what matters today is the honoring of the Stars and Stripes and those who have fought bravely for it. Reporting in Joplin, I'm Anthony Saviello, KOAM News.
Now, if you're interested in donating to the Nation of Patriots Tour, you can go online to nationofpatriots.com. You might have heard of a bear crawl, maybe in phys ed in school. How about a creek crawl? The Shoal Creek Conservation Education Center today hosted their creek crawl, gave people the opportunity to check out the life in the creek and what hidden creatures could be in it. When a creature was taken out, naturalists would explain what was caught and what they do in their environment, including their effects on the water.
People, they enjoy our natural resource with the water because Shoal Creek, not only drinking water of Joplin, but it's also a great place to cool off during the summer. But with this program specifically, not only are we trying to give them an opportunity to enjoy the water, but we're trying to give them more of a conservation aspect of like, why is it important for us to enjoy the water, but also realize that it's important to keep our waters clean.
Naturalists with Shoal Creek hope the event will show folks how fun it is to be in the water. And if you're looking for more ways to have fun in the water, well, Wildcat Glades is preparing to host their Shoal Creek Water Festival this weekend. The more than 4-hour event will have cardboard boat races with boats built by some area people. There's also a shoebox boat race for kids, a rubber duck race, and a fishing derby. Organizers say the time to sign up is running out.
Registration is going to close this Thursday for both of those events, for the shoebox boat race and the cardboard boat race. However, you can find information online about that, and if you want to enter after that, just contact us. You can either call Wildcat Glades Nature Group, or you can email us at maddie@wildcatglades.org.
It'll kick off Saturday, 10 a.m., ends at 4:30 p.m. Today was the last day for judging livestock shows at the Woodson County Fair. The youth participants have been preparing for this fair for the last year, raising, feeding, grooming their prized livestock. Young exhibitors got to show off their hard work with hopes, of course, of winning grand champion.
Because some of this, like the lamb, I was wanting to do something new, so that's why I went with a lamb. And then some of the other stuff I've been doing for like a few years, and I just think doing stuff at the fair is really fun.
The fair concluded with a barnyard Olympics and bouncy houses. A bit later, Congress taking its time.
A race to regulate AI. I'm Chad Pergam on Capitol Hill. More on that story coming up.
Well, of course, a super hot day for us today. High temps above 100 degrees. In fact, it's still hot outside right now. It just feels kind of nasty. It's 89. Feels like it is 95 degrees. Visibility is good. Light little southerly wind at about 10 miles per hour. But look at our heat indices still. As of right now, it feels like 95 Webb City, 96 in Anderson, 97 in Grove, 92 Independence. Still feels like a 100 in Nowata. Not a whole bunch going on. Some clouds in our northeastern counties. We had some showers and thunderstorms out across central Missouri earlier today, but those are pretty much all falling apart. We had some thunderstorms out across western parts of Kansas, but they will not make it here as we go through the overnight hours tonight. So here's the problem, big dome of high pressure. We do get some waves rotating around it, but this in the summer months is our heat dome. So whenever we get a big dome of high pressure, of course, it really heats up. That was the same problem last year when we hit 100 about 18 times. As we go into tomorrow, look at this, lower 90s. By noon, we have this stationary front kind of draped through the northern half of the region. It just kind of flows north and south throughout the day, but a few isolated thunderstorms trying to pop up late in the day. So here's 5 p.m., 95 Nevada, 98 in Miami, Coffeyville up to about 96 degrees. Now, as this front hangs out tomorrow night, this produces a complex of showers and thunderstorms. Some of these guys could be fairly strong tomorrow night. So this is after midnight, 3 o'clock in the morning, but a band of showers and thunderstorms that push through. A few leftover showers Thursday morning, and then Thursday afternoon looks okay. It's going to be cooler. It's going to be hot. Coolers temperatures into the low to mid 90s, upper 80s in our northern counties, but at least we're going in the right direction. And then once again Thursday night into Friday morning, most likely a complex of showers and thunderstorms. Try to work through once again. Day planner, look at this, 7 a.m. it's already 81 degrees. High temp right around 100, upper 90s to near 100. Heat indices, again, 102 to about 105 during the afternoon. So when are we going to get some relief? So we're watching that big dome of high pressure. See how that pushes back toward the west as we get late this week into the weekend. It gives us waves, chances for showers and thunderstorms, and it cools us down as we head into the weekend. But watch what happens next week. Here he comes again, heading toward us, which means triple-digit heat once again will return. 99 for us tomorrow, 94, 95 on Thursday. Some pop-up thunderstorms, mainly in the morning and then again on Friday morning. Saturday looks great. A few thunderstorms Sunday and Monday. Temperatures Friday 84, 89 on Saturday, and then triple-digit heat once again next week.
Yeah, a lot of days next week with that whole cast.
I know,
Forecast
sadly.
holds up. Yeah, sadly. Thanks, Doug. As the wildfires in Canada continue to blow hazardous smoke south into the U.S., air quality remains a top concern. Based on today's readings, the EPA estimates more than 60 million people are facing forecasts considered unhealthy for sensitive groups. Coming up in sports, a local high school hires a new head football coach, plus highlights from tonight's Outlaws game at Joe Becker Stadium. John Dales has those stories and more coming up.
High school football season just over a month away, and the Fairland Owls just made a change in leadership. Jimmy Hudson had been the Owls coach for the previous 2 seasons and led them to the playoffs and a winning record last year. But in 2023, the Owls will be led by Doug Winters, who will also serve as athletic director for Fairland High School. And Winters has previously coached several different high school sports teams in the 4 states area, ranging from Grove boys basketball to Olaga girls basketball. And the Owls begin their 2023 campaign on September 1st at home against Morrison. Meanwhile, Missouri Southern may not be competing in any sports right now, but during the athletic season, Lions student athletes excelled both on and off the playing field. In the past week, the MSSU volleyball and track and field teams both have received academic awards, and Missouri Southern student athletes from every sport combined for a 3.21 GPA in the 2022-23 academic year. More specifically, Lions track and field teams had 22 different athletes get named to the U.S. Track and Field and Cross Country Coaches Association All-Academic Team. On top of that, Southern Volleyball receives a team award from the American Volleyball Coaches Association. It's the 9th year in a row they've gotten that award. And 42% of all MSSU student athletes finish the school year with a GPA of 3.5 or higher. And less than a week remaining in the Mink League regular season. Very different final weeks for our 2 teams from the 4 states. The Outlaws have 7 games in 6 days. Nevada Griffins just 3 contests remaining in their regular season. But starting with the Outlaws, big game for them tonight, hosting the Carroll Merchants. Sullivan Lane on the hill for Joplin gets a strikeout in the first inning. So does his counterpart, Strikeout in the bottom of the first. Mark Kenny on the mound for Carroll. Deep fly into the gap for Carroll in the top of the second, but really good outfield play by the Outlaws here. That keeps it at a very long single. Later in the inning, check out this diving catch by Caden Bressler at short. Then he fires on over to first. That's a double play to get out of the frame. Outlaws still in a 0-0 game. That is up until the bottom of the second. Jason Lazo gets things started with a bloop single into center. Next batter coming up to the plate, Will Kelly, who won the home run derby, but didn't have a home run in the regular season until that pitch. Didn't even see the ball land. 2-run homer, put Joplin on top, 2-0. Kelly celebrating with his teammates afterwards. To the top of the third, Carroll tries to steal third here, but the throw by Outlaws catcher Carson Green beats him by a mile. He's tagged out there. Outlaws add another in the bottom of the third with this single into center by Green. That brings in Landon Myers. Outlaws up big, 11-3. Last check of the score in the bottom of the seventh. Elsewhere in the state, though, really tough loss for Nevada tonight. They enter the night trailing Sedalia by just one game in the wild card standings, with just 3 games left in the regular season, and the Griffins come up short. It was a tie game heading into the 9th inning, and Sedalia walks it off in the bottom of the 9th. That's the bad news for the Griffins. The good news is they're not done quite yet, though. 2 games remaining for each of those teams, and they could get help by the Outlaws because the Outlaws play Sedalia tomorrow.
Wow, makes the end of the season that much more exciting.
It does.
We'll be right back. Will artificial intelligence legislation ever come? A House panel focusing on cyber technologies probed the future of AI today, but lawmakers are skeptical about advancing a bill anytime soon. Fox News senior correspondent Chad Pergram has more from Capitol Hill.
Artificial intelligence is now influencing almost every sector of America's economy. But will Congress be able to catch up? So far, there's no major legislation regulating AI, even though Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer says it's a big issue on his agenda. On Tuesday, a House panel examined what the future could look like studying AI on the battlefield. Some experts urged lawmakers to move more quickly. That's because AI could have the same strategic impact as nuclear weapons.
One of the implications of that is that because of that and the fact that so much is done via the open source model, it's instant proliferation.
While most lawmakers remain skeptical about advancing an AI bill anytime soon, some are floating their own ideas, separate from party leadership.
My legislation would require the Office of Management and Budget to issue guidance to federal agencies to implement transparency practices relating to the use of AI.
But that's at odds with the position of House Speaker Kevin McCarthy. McCarthy says he doesn't fear AI. The Speaker declared that AI could possibly cure cancer and fight wildfires, and he doesn't want federal regulators taking a heavy hand.
I do not want to see government create an agency to approve whether someone can build upon AI. I want to see an ability to foster AI here in America.
The hearing came just after the SEC chairman said AI could play a massive role in future financial crises and even destabilize the economy. On Capitol Hill, Chad Pergram, Fox News.
Microsoft is launching a new AI chatbot that's supposed to be more secure. The tech giant says Bing Chat Enterprise is designed so businesses can rest assured potentially sensitive information is being shared safely. With that tool, users' chat data isn't saved, sent to Microsoft servers, or used to train AI models, they say. The chatbot is being rolled out to all users in the next 30 days, but companies' IT departments can manually turn it on now. Coming up, we're going to meet a World War II veteran whose secret to staying young into his 90s is taking to the skies. Old age isn't keeping one North Carolina veteran from his passion. Reporter Taylor Thompson introduces us to a 91-year-old former Navy captain who still takes to the skies.
I haven't lived my whole life yet.
Sid Tolchin.
So far.
A 91-year-old veteran who says life is just getting started.
So this is a single-seat aircraft called an Aerolite.
Sid served in the Navy for 35 years, joining just out of med school.
They told me I had to give them back 5 years, and I ended up giving them 35 years. And it was wonderful. I wish I could still be in it, but the Navy took me to all over the world.
Him and his wife moved to Hendersonville just 2 years ago.
The kit is built, in DeLand, Florida.
With the love for flying that began long ago.
In World War II, I was a paper boy, and I was selling defense stamps and bonds as a paper boy, and I won a prize, and it was in a Piper Cub, and that Piper Cub got me hooked. It weighs 264 pounds.
Sid says that just those few minutes took him on a 70-year journey of flying.
It flies perhaps at 55 miles an hour, 65 max. I flew all kinds of airplanes, in the military. I flew in jets and in DC-3s, R-4Ds, C-141s. Then in Vietnam, I flew in helicopters and in C-141s there, and it was an exciting time.
He's now changed his pace a bit.
This is sort of like a motorcycle in the air.
Flying an aerolite plane that he says isn't recognized as an aircraft by the FAA.
People who don't have a license can still fly this. It has a 2-cycle engine on it, which is 41 horsepower.
He says this wasn't his decision.
When I hit 88, they decided not to insure me anymore.
While he made the decision to leave flying in the past, he soon realized that he wasn't ready to give it up.
Because it's like my psychiatrist. It's my therapy. So after 2 years, I found this one.
That's where the aerolite was born just a little over a year ago.
Took it apart and brought it here, and all the guys here at Johnson Field and Hendersonville Airport helped me put it together again, and it's flying. Basically, it's an airplane like any other airplane. Once you get up in the air, it's just freedom. The feeling of freedom, the feeling that you're in charge of your life now, fully in charge.
He says it's important to not let the old man in.
You don't stop flying because you get old. You get old because you stop flying. So.
For Sid, it's especially surreal to be flying here in the mountains.
And so it's a community, it's a brotherhood, and very much like the military, which I miss very much.
Good for him, and that is our time for tonight. Thanks for joining us. We're going to leave you with video of dogs in Las Vegas enjoying a splash pad in the intense heat of these dog days of summer. Let's make it a great tomorrow.